Well, hello and welcome. Well, when I was a child, I remember days that I was caned in school. Indeed, I haven't even forgotten about the teachers. I'm going all the way back to Martin de Porres. We were pioneers. I can even go to Northridge Lyceum and talk about Mrs. Engman. And I remember one of the lashes she gave me in my thumb. One of my thumbs became bigger than the other for many, many years. I remember Mr. Mwakata, Mauli Dramado, remember Mrs. Last. They all had a fair share of my buttocks trying to put me in line. But, all the way through secondary school, bursting out of testosterone, wanting to have your own way. But no, there were rules, and whether you liked it or not, you followed the rules. But what is the new trend? Is it that, now children know their rights and therefore they're demanding their rights? Is it bad parenting? Is it loose structures in the school? Indeed, let me tell you a tiny story, and I'll leave the names out. But my uncle, who's quite old now, he went to GSTS. And in first term, midterms, he gets a suspension letter from school that he had smoked marijuana. So his father, who was a reverend minister, then took him straight into the car, straight to the headmaster. Says, "Headmaster, are you out of your mind? I've trained my child from 0 to 16. He never even smoked a cigarette. I send him to you for 6 weeks and you bring him back that he's smoking marijuana. It's your case. You deal with it." Folks, that's where we are at the moment. Whose fault is it? School, parents, society? I don't know. But with me to discuss this and to get a broad perspective on this issue, I have to my immediate left Edwin Boachi Yadom, who's a psychologist, to check to make sure that they are thinking straight. Edwin, you're welcome.
Thank you.
First time on the show. And my own senior brother, Anis Hafa, retired educationist, a passionate educationist. I'm sure he has an insight on this. Anis, you're welcome.
I'm not retired.
Exactly.
Thank you.
Ongoing hard campaign.
There you go.
Ghanaian passionate educationist. We like Anis. So what we do is we'll start on the phone, go straight to, actually no, let me take a break here. When I come back, we'll go straight to the north, speak to Alhaji Mohammed Haroon, who's the regional director of GES there, to tell us what's happening out there. Folks, my name is Nana Sakwa, and this is PM Express. Well, hello and welcome. Thanks for staying on Unruly High Schools. And it's one of these things where I think we have to discuss and find out where has it all started from? Where's this rage and misunderstanding and all system breaking loose? Where is it coming from? And I was asking in my intro, is it bad parenting? Is it loose structures in the schools? Is it just society? Or are the children indeed truly fighting for their right? It's my right to do this, and if you don't allow me, then all hell break loose. We're going to go straight up and speak to Alhaji Mohammed Haroon, who's the regional director for GES, to tell us exactly what's going on. Is there a trend happening? And then we'll continue discussion in studio. Alhaji, you're welcome.
Thank you very much.
I thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Nana.
I thank you too, Alhaji, for God and country, allowing us to call you at this time. Alhaji, I just want to break it simple. This is the fourth case that have happened, and they normally start from something which we deem trivial. Don't wear slippers, do your jams the following day, and then all hell breaks loose. What is happening?
Thank you very much, Nana. I can see in a very short statement that is due to indiscipline. Indiscipline because these are school rules that must be obeyed. But now students want to dictate school rules that should govern them in schools. And that is what is causing all these problems. Before a student is enrolled or admitted into a school, they are given the school rules, which they usually agree to abide by. But upon entry, they try to throw the school rules overboard. In the case of Northern Region at this moment, or for the past week or two, there have been series of misdemeanor, misconducts on the part of students in about 4 schools. if Nana, I can start. I want to start with there were some skirmishes at Yaba Senior High. And when I went to investigate, the reason for the skirmishes to go on strike was that when they want to go and rest in their dormitory during class hours when they get tired, they are prevented from doing that by staff members through rule calls. So they don't want rule calls. The rule calls are too many. So that they can go to the dormitory and relax, even during classes hours, when classes are going on. I don't know what kind of school rule will govern or accept this kind of behavior on the part of students. That was nipped in the bud. Then came Karaga. In the case of Karaga, the students said they wanted to be using mobile phones any time they wanted. And it's against the school rules. The whole of GES, there is no school where students are allowed to possess mobile phones or use mobile phones at will. But these were students who were insisting that they must be allowed to use mobile phones. And when the authorities said no, that was not going to be allowed, they went on the rampage and destroyed things at the end of it all. Then we go to Salaga, just within the week. In the case of Salaga, I got a list of grievances from the students. One of them was that their telephone booth got broken down and it hasn't been repaired. So the headmaster has refused to repair it, and therefore they must go on a demonstration against that. The second grievance, Nana, was that they were asked not to wear slippers. Why were they asked not to wear slippers? They were asked not to wear slippers for exams or into exam rooms. Some of these students copy formally or extracted answers on the slippers, the bathroom slippers we mean.
Yeah.
And they enter the exam room and they slip off their legs or their feet and they copy. So the staff got to realize this. So they said no, they should no longer wear bathroom slippers into exam rooms. Likewise, shoes. Some of them stuff exam foreign material in their shoes. This is even terminal exams. They are trying to cheat. But we are there to train them to be independent, so that when they go to write the final exam, that's the WASH exam, they will not be tempted to cheat. All these things will not go against the school and the region for that matter. Sure. And this is what the students said will not go down well with them. And that is one of the causes that led to the wanton destruction of school property, the pulling down of the school wall by the community members, and followed by other reactions from the community in Salaga. So I'm just saying that it's due to indiscipline. Because if teachers can give students rules and the students will say, no, they want the rules this way, then I think it will cease to be an educational institution. There's one credit I can give to them, and that credit is where they say that they don't elect their prefects. We have told them as education authorities that the students must be allowed to elect their own prefects. But in the case of CI, they claim that the headmaster pinpointed or appointed prefects for them, and therefore they will not believe or trust those prefects. And we try to let them elect their prefects because when there's any kind of early warning system in times of conflict, when you give messages to the prefects to relay to the students listen because they elected them. But where they are appointed by the headmaster or school authorities, then there's some mistrust, and therefore the student will not listen to the student leadership. So we are trying to build that kind of democracy among the students. And it's just one of the causes. And that one, I give it to them as a thing, because there, we, the education authorities or the headmaster, has heard.
Let me come in here with the indiscipline. Yes. I mean, no child is born with indiscipline. You groom them to become indisciplined. Is it coming from home or is it coming from school? This indiscipline that is, these children are developing.
Yes, Nana, I think there's a saying that charity begins at home. These children, the indiscipline is brewing from their homes. If parents can discipline their children, they bring discipline to the school. and they don't misbehave the way these kids students are doing. So I blame partly on their behavior, partly on the parents. Yeah, if parents can discipline their children, they bring discipline to school. If the children are undisciplined in the house, they bring that to the school. And therefore, they are carrying the kind of character or the kind of behavior, the kind of misbehavior that they exhibit at home into the school compound. And this is making teachers helpless because now, to apply certain sanctions on students, we are prevented from doing that. And so the students come and they do whatever they want to do on campus, and they don't expect any checks from the tutors.
This is amazing. I mean, so going forward, what's the plan for the GES to nip it in the bud? Because look, I don't know, could that also be that the other schools have realized that, oh, this is how we get our own way, so let's also do it? Could that be a trend?
Yeah, Nana, I will side with what you are saying. If we don't change some of these rules, other schools will follow suit. And that's because others have done certain things with impunity and they have not been punished. Because when they are punished, then various opinion leaders come in to plead on their behalf, and at the end of the day, the punishment is mitigated. So others also feel, well, if this person or those people did that and they were not punished, why can we not do it? Because we also know the important personalities around. Mm-hmm. And so to nip this in the bud, we should tell personalities not to intervene in this student discipline when the authorities are trying to discipline them. Then also, I just think that when we punish them, we want it to serve as a deterrent so that other students do not cooperate or do not follow. And when you discipline a student in a way, you find human rights activists taking it up in the air, they are commenting on this and all those things. And this is what is inflating the students, and they feel that they have the right to do whatever they are doing. And this is limiting the powers of members of staff or school authorities. I think it's going against us as a whole in the country.
What's the last question? What's the reaction of the community? Is the community upset with the school, or is the community upset with the students? What help are you getting from community and parents?
Well, I talked about various schools. Yes. And the various communities where the schools are located, they have various reactions.
Okay.
For Nalegu, which I have not even come to, I was on Salaga.
Yeah.
The Nalegu, which just occurred on Saturday.
Yeah.
The problem was that the headmaster explained to the students who wanted to have what they call jams on Saturday night. Mm-hmm. They were there in the exam week. So the headmaster pleaded with them to postpone it to the last day after the exam, just this week. Mm-hmm. So that they could concentrate on their studies, so that they could go back to their dormitories and then read in order to be able to write today's papers and subsequent papers well. So that on Thursday or Friday they can do their jam, and then from there they proceed on holidays. And this is what didn't go down well with the students. Wow. And that is what led to all this kind of rancor in the school. So you can see that this is what I term as the discipline on the part of students.
So if we go...
the headmaster said, I don't see anything wrong with that.
I just wanted to find out what reaction you get or what support the schools are getting from the community.
Yeah, so the community, that's what I'm coming to. Okay. In the case of Salaga, some of the community members came out in support of the students. And that is what led to the escalation of the violence into the community. Wow. Nalegu have not yet gotten any confirmed reaction of the community. Mm-hmm. In the case of Karaga, the community has not sided with the students. They have condemned the acts by the students.
Okay.
And so that's what I can say about the community so far.
I see. Now, you won't be able to cane the children. You probably won't have to ask them to go and weed, but you need to keep them in line. So what do? Show them more love so they listen to you, or what's the way forward?
Yes, now, I've discussed, just this morning, I discussed with the regional minister for Northern Region, Alaji Minuna. Mm-hmm. We have decided to call stakeholders meeting on Tuesday next week. And then we'll call all district directors of education, all heads of second cycle schools, and some opinion leaders. And then we'll discuss to find out what is actually the causes of this kind of reactions on the part of the students. And that is where we can find our way forward.
Well, Alhaji, thank you very much. But during the course of the show, if we need you, we're happy to call you back to give further explanation. But thank you very much.
Nana, you are always welcome, and I'm always ready to listen to you.
Thank you very much.
Explain issues to you.
Alhaji, thank you very much. Let me come to studio and let me start with my senior Anis. I'm not even going to ask you any question. I'm just starting with you.
Start with me.
Yes. Where do we go from here?
Yeah. You know, we've all been children before. You know, I started school in a village in Tutuka, Obuasi. But there was a sense of purpose. Sense of purpose meaning that the school was ours. And we're growing flowers. You know, we grew hedges. We're proud of our school. You know, that was then. There was supervision. And the teachers were both respectful and respectable. Those two go hand in hand. And there was also a genuine concern for our education. A sense of purpose is key. There's a trend in this country where there's misguidance. Young people are not aspiring too much in the sense that we don't have the sense of purpose. And let me explain what that means. Things are changing drastically in the 21st century. Young people see how other young people are doing in other countries and the progress that comes with it. They see the environment in which other young people are being raised. And they see the decadence in which we find ourselves. And what I mean is that I've done some training in Narugu, in the Mampusi area. And now you realize that there are no toilets for the children. The school sits in dust. And then in one school that I went to do some training, it's like the school itself was, it didn't have, you couldn't see the students, you couldn't see the teachers. Everybody was doing any which way. There was lack of discipline on both sides. The administrators, and then the students would pick it from there and do their own thing on the side. Now, when they saw me coming with a few other people, then they realized that the visitors there. So they all rised in to sit at their seats. And then, you know, and I did some training there. But the point is this. Children watch us. They want to see how prepared we are. They want to see how serious we are. And they connect. Again, it goes back to my secondary school too. I mean, we couldn't misbehave when we saw the headmaster. Our headmaster wasn't a big guy. He was a very small person. But he commanded respect. He exhibited respect. And he demanded respect from us. And he got what he wanted from us. In fact, even when we walked in Cape Coast, and the people will say, these are Bartels's children, we walk straight, you know, because we had to live up to the image that had been planted in us. These things are disappearing. One reason being that, again, the quality of teaching is key. The way we prepare people to teach others is not a small matter, you know. And if you look at even places like Finland, my goodness, it's more difficult to get into the School of Education than it is to get into medicine. These are the things. And they are paid just as high or higher than medical doctors. So they have a certain esteem. They have a certain confidence. They are prepared a certain way. And then it also resonates even in terms of how they present themselves and how qualified they are to teach. These are the elements that are missing in this country. You know, for a teacher to demand respect, they have to be respectable. You know, these are the things that we want to begin to kick in. But as time goes on, there are other ideas too that I want to share because we need to have solutions.
Let me come back to Edwin. Now, Edwin, you're a psychologist. I mean, in our days in school, yes, we love jams and, you know, you look forward to jams, but I really doubt to say, you know, we're going to have a jam at night before our exam, and if you're not going to let us do it, we're going to kick the school in. I cannot even, you know, write it out as a fiction. It will be too much of, you know, out of sync. What will push students this far?
Okay, great, Nana. Basically, actually, what you said earlier on gave me a remembrance of what happened in my school back in the days. during our first few days in school orientation, I remember the whole Form 1 students were punished, caned, just because we were in an orientation environment and we were kind of making noise. And at that time, the place wasn't even set up readily available. There was discipline. There was discipline. You have 3 years, like he said, a sense of purpose. You have 3 years to school. And then in the first few weeks, the whole course outline is given you during those days. So you know the voluminous amount you're going to study to make it to the tertiary institution you want to get into. But like he rightly said, are these things available? And if they are available, are they the prominent issues that we are tackling as an institute or as a country? You see, let me say this. We give our students more books to learn. But what is learning? Learning is actually a relatively permanent change in behavior as a result of experience. What experience? Not just what they go through, but also what they see people do. Why would they result into riots? They've seen people do it in their communities, in their country, and probably that gives them the feedback that they need. And so if there is any grievances whatsoever, why not resort to that? Yes, he said. I mean, come to think about it, you have just a week to write exams, and afterwards you can chill. Afterwards, I think it's even vacation. You can do whatever you want. You can organize school jams. But sometimes I believe it's about how you communicate these to the younger ones. Like Uncle Afi said, we all have been kids before. We all know what, I mean, there could be things that you actually want to do, but the way your parents will tell you not to will either make you want to do it to investigate and see why you are being asked not to, or will make you back off. I think for some reason we are losing it. The right things to be done are not being concentrated on.
Why is it too much in the north? I mean, there's secondary schools all over. So why are these routes prevalent in the north and not in the Ashanti, Western, Greater Accra?
Right. Again, let's look at the curriculum. That's very important. The question is this: what are the young people doing? What are our expectations of the young people? What do we expect of them? What is the outcome? What are curricular objectives? What is the outcome? I will tell you, a lot of young people in this country just sit behind desks in the classrooms, even right here in Accra. Now, what we have to begin to understand is that, the devil finds work for idle hands to do. I don't have to say this because we all know it. So what I'm saying is this. I mean, anytime I've gone to the north, I look at the missed opportunities where you have young people who are sitting behind desks. They are supposed to produce information that has been passed on to them. How long will a human being consistently sit and memorize things and reproduce them? A lot of them are not doing it, and they are tired of schooling. So we have to change school. We have to change the essence of school where we bring in the elements of purpose. And that's what I'm saying. Again, in this place that let's talk about the north now, where you have cotton blowing everywhere. And we don't see how, as a science project, we want to see that we're going to grow cotton, we're going to harvest it, we're going to convert it into textile, we're going to produce out of it. This is the sense of purpose. Because you know that today when I go to school, this is exactly what I'm going to do. These are the things that have to be pulled in as far as what quality education means. Now, it really bothers me as a grown-up when I see that young people have left the north. They come to Accra, Kumasi, Takoradi. Little kids, especially the girls, carrying heavy load on their necks. God did not make our neck for that. Machines do these kinds of things. So what I'm saying is this. We now in the 21st century, as an independent country, for us to continue seeing this means that those who we are paying to be in charge of raising our young people, we have to put a question mark there. Because this kind of behavior is unacceptable. I mean, why should we accept decadence in Ghana, knowing very well that our young people want to leave this country and go to other places because there's no decadence there?
School or parenting?
You asked a fantastic question. Now, my discipline was in school. Because, you know, I mean, when my mother had 3 children by the time she was 20. So she didn't know what to do with us. But the discipline that I got, I mean, there was partially at home, but it was mainly in school. Because there was a sense of purpose there. You know, my mother couldn't teach me. My father couldn't teach me because they were not qualified to do it. They will raise you the best way they can. But what I'm saying is this. Being a father or mother does not qualify you to be a parent in the right sense of the word. Some of the work that I do where we train parents how to raise their young people. So we can assume that parents know how to do it. We expect them to know how to do it. But the most important place in this country where we can begin to mold behavior invariably are the institutions, because we have psychologists there, we have trained teachers there, we have structures there, and there's even time management. So the schools are very important, you know, but the question is this: what do we do in school? And all I'm saying is this: go into any of our schools right here, Adabraka, Kaneshi, Latibiokoshi. Look at our public schools there and see what is happening there. And then the other thing, you have about 40 young people strapped behind a desk in a humid environment where the school is sitting in dust. What do you expect? What kind of behavior do you expect from a young people who are exposed under those conditions? Life has changed. So what I'm saying is this. Here, again, we want to begin to look at science projects because that's very important. The important thing is this. What are the young people doing? If they are sitting down, they're going to be a problem for you. If you, the teacher, are not prepared, they can see it before time that you are not prepared, and they're going to be behavior problems for you. So let's look at science project where it rains and we are not harvesting rain in the schools. Why? It doesn't make sense. And the instance I give is even the University of Ghana, where you go to the toilets, there's no water to flush the toilets, a chamber, there's water in the chamber, is broken. And we have 32,000 young people in the school, and not one of them knows how to direct water to flush the toilet. Across the road, what do we have? Department of Applied Sciences. We've turned education upside down. It's not functional for us. Young people cannot articulate exactly what is going on, but that purpose is missing. And we have to begin to pull those things in. Because we have to start from the standpoint that the young people who are coming to us are prepared, they are ready to learn. That's why they've come to us. And the assumption is that we are being trained as teachers, we've prepared our lessons, there's a sense of purpose in it, there's learner-centered activities where young people also begin to partake in the decision making. But in this culture, where we think, that's another problem, we think that grown-ups know better than everybody else. Things are changing. If you take your low telephone and you miss a dial, your daughter, who's about 40 years younger than you, is going to fix it. So this is a digital age. We have to begin to pull them in and make them part of the process. That is key. The African thing where we think that we know better, the children are responding to it in a negative way. We have to now begin to give them responsibility. Especially, look, when I go to schools, I look at the troublemakers.
Let me bring Edwin in before. Edwin, because now you can lash the children like they used to, you can, those old-fashioned punishment are out of the way. Yeah. But you still have these, 1,500 children to keep in line. I mean, by the teachers showing more love, could it help? I mean, if you bring the children closer, will it help? Or should we apply to bring the old-fashioned discipline back?
Great question. Now you are asking who should be blamed? Parents, teachers, society. And then I want to bring to board that parenting is not for parents or fathers and mothers only. Matter of fact, we enter school at a very tender age, and sometimes we grow beard before we finish school. Do we even finish school at all? So when we're talking about parenting, teachers are, in one way or the other, they are our parents as well. You see, so yes, it's not only being punitive. You have to show tenderness, love, care, even how to approach an individual, knowing his age category. For instance, if all things being equal, let's assume this headmaster said it in an angry way and the students also burst out. Could it have been said in a different way? If so, would it have yielded a better result? I mean, in other words, instead of being punitive, we could even recommend more like not punishing them, but rewarding them for delayed gratification. Boys and girls, I need you to make more A's than your predecessors made for me. And because of that, I want you to hold on to this and finish the exam. Afterwards, we're going to do this A, B, C. Maybe we should have done only A, but I'm going to add B and C. It makes the students happy. So I think we should find better ways of dealing with it, not only punishing, sometimes giving rewards, because rewards, in a better sense, pay off than trying to punish.
There's one thing which Alhaji raised was that the headmasters were pointing their own prefect out. I mean, automatically you send him out as a spy. I don't know what the reaction would be. I mean, you being a psychologist, maybe you can understand the students more than I do.
Okay. So basically, if we are here and you set Anis over me, I know that he is coming for you. In other words, whatever I do, he is reporting per his own judgments. And we are in the same class studying together till we get to the final year, and you set a leader over me without allowing me to choose. Elsewhere, it is not so. And these students have mates who they were in basically basic schools with, and they communicate during vacation. So they know how the system is in other schools. So if you breach contract, if you tell them something different or you give them something different, like you rightly said, you are setting them spies over me. So now my friend is becoming my enemy. And this brings more like what I may call a friend rivalry. Okay, just like in a family you see sibling rivalry. We are all together, we're all happy, and then all of a sudden my colleague is set as a spy over me. And then you preach about trying to set democracy in an institute. That is not the right way.
And is it communication that's broken down between students and administration, or say the teacher, I mean, them and us? Is it communication?
You know, we need school managers. You know, and invariably some of my teachers, most of my teachers, that sort of thing. But, you know, when I go to schools, even KG1, you look through the window and you can tell that there are particular kids who are more energetic than others. There are particular kids who want to be seen more than others. So what you do is that you put them in and you give them roles. Everybody wants to shine. Some people want to shine more than others. But what are they going to shine about? Is it going to be something that's constructive? And if you don't find, again, the sense of purpose again, if here I am today as a rabble-rouser and I'm leading the class in discussions, the rabbling will disappear because now I have to begin to use my intelligence a certain way. If there's someone, and then the other thing is this, young people don't need to be sitting too much. You know, even the architecture of schools are being redesigned though. I mean, I've just went on a trip and I've come back. There's a place where you sit, and this is the big picture in terms of how we raise young people to be successful adults in society and they have a sense of fulfillment. The architecture is saying that there's a place that you sit to listen for a while. When you come back, you're not going to sit there again and listen another hour. After you listen for 1 hour, the next hour is that you are going to do something with the listener. In the next hour, now you're going to present what it is that you've done out of the lectures. You know, all of that is a sense of purpose. It keeps you on your toes and your mind is directed at something that's constructive, something that's productive. All of that is missing in this country. And then let's look at human beings are not made to sit from 8 o'clock to 3 o'clock. We're not built that way. That's why we have legs. That's why we have hands. That's why we have a mouth. That's why we have some creativity that can enhance our own well-being. But here we are with young people boxed in, 40 in a room. What do you expect? That's like a prison. You know, so what I'm saying is this. The other time where the WAEC was supposed to do practicals, and then there was a problem there because there was not enough room for the young people to do practicals. I said, well, if you put 40 people in a box, then there will be room for everybody else. But Ghana is 92,000 square miles. And we don't have room to do things except that we box people in and they get frustrated. Now, the other thing about WAEC, about this Charlie Water business that they don't want the kids to wear because they write exams on them. If your whole life depends on doing exams, and to pass is the key thing that you have to do will make or break you, you will cheat. If you have not been taught properly, and you want to pass exam to go to a particular school, you will cheat because you want to get there. If you have not been sufficiently prepared, there are no teacher and learning materials, and you know you have to pass the exam, you resort to these kinds of things. But begin to look at the same people, the people who failed the exams, have they been removed from a particular environment and placed in another environment where the teachers were on task, where the lessons were together, where they were teaching materials and the rest of it, they will pass, and they might not find the need to cheat. People cheat for a reason. I don't want to be how do you call it? I don't want to be a loser. So I have to resort to some other ways of doing it. The bigger picture is how society is raising its young people. That is the key. How well are we preparing the young people who are preparing the teachers who are preparing other people? That is the key.
I want to
garbage in, garbage out. That's as simple as that.
I want to narrow it to the north because we've had 4 incidents in the north, and I don't think it's a coincidence. It must be a trend. And I don't know, I'm just guessing that. Is it that the teachers up north are saying, look, we are the teachers, they are the students, and therefore you do as I say? Is there a communication breakdown? I'm just, Edwin, what do you think? I don't know.
Well, so like you talked about communication, definitely there could be a communication gap somewhere. And then there's always that possibility of thinking yourself the boss and they subordinates.
Let me come here. You see, because number one, they want to go and sleep. They don't want any roll call business or, thought it was too much roll call. The phone booth was broken, probably it's taking too long getting fixed. They are not allowed to use mobile phones. I can't call home and you are not fixing it. You're probably driving around in your pickup, making me more angry. Then there was the Chaliwote issue. He hadn't tucked in his shirt and they want to do jams. And like you suggested, look, you could have said, look, I'll give you an hour extra after the exams. I don't know. I mean, why should they go so mad?
Okay. So, in the first place, students will always be students, no matter their age. And there'll always be the need for extra freedom. Okay? There'll be the need for extra freedom. That is why they don't want to join the queue for roll call, they want to go and sleep. But the truth is, will they even go and sleep if they are given the opportunity? So these things are two-way affairs. It's not like entirely the fault of the teachers. However...
But is it not strange? I mean, roll call is part of secondary school life every time. Line up, do this. So how does that generate into a strike?
Great. So like I was saying, however, you have a lot of, let's say 500 students or say 200 students, and you get one person or 2 people missing roll call. You do roll calls to check if everybody is there. And obviously there will be some people who are not there. It happens everywhere. Let's not pretend it doesn't happen. These things happen. So are there ways to punish them? Or are there ways to correct these?
Let me take my last break, and then when I come back, we'll go to the phones, and then we'll take some of your messages, particularly my viewers up north. And I know I have lots and lots of viewers up north who absolutely love PM Express, so that you can tell us, maybe you were a parent and you think that, no, the teachers are not relating to the students properly. What is triggering this anger? Couldn't be a coincidence. We're coming straight back. Thank you very much. It's 0302 211 701 0302 211 701 702 703 704. Give me a call. Let me hear your take, especially maybe if you have an insight to what's going on, because it is not explainable. The issues which are triggering the routes, I can't seem to balance it. If the headmaster shot a student, I can understand. Well, they didn't agree, but don't bring your slippers. Wait till after the exam to have your jam, and they get so angry. You need to talk to me at 0302 22 11701. Anis,
Yes, sir.
Should we go back to kindergarten and retrain the children, or can you catch them at secondary school level and do something with it? Is it too late by the time they get to secondary school?
Well, again, it's how we prepare our teachers. And also what students do when they are in school. There was a program that I was doing in the U.S. called a Gifted and Talented Program. Every child from class 1 is working on a project. What is it that you like to do with your life? What's your curiosity? What do you have interest? What is it that's so interesting that you like to pursue and then come to share with your friends? Here in this culture, we talk at young people. Do this and don't do that. Do this, don't do it. After a while, people get tired of it, So that now, even if the instruction that you've given me is a sensible one, I'm so indoctrinated against you that I don't even want to hear it. So
is it that our class sizes are so big? Because and you said it several times, which is a fact that, the lecturer comes to class with exercise books, literally, reads it to you. Wait, you're reading too fast. He goes back, he reads it, and then he goes. If there's a particularly long word, he writes it on the board, you copy it. And during exams, you need to copy back that exercise book to him. Is it difficult to say, look, this is generally what it is. Now you tell me how you think it should work. Is it difficult to make that change?
Let me tell you, when I'm teaching, the most interesting part of what I do is when I'm hearing other ideas that I've never thought about. These are the things, you see. But again, the culture itself has to change, where we think that adults know better than everybody else. It's not just teachers now. But except that it's disappointing that teachers do these things because they are supposed to know better. Hopefully, they've been through a school of education themselves. But when you respect young people, you respect them by listening to them. When you do particular kinds of, when you do learner-centered type education, for example, the teacher talks less. We call it a cognitive ratio.
Let me speak to Osman. Hello, Osman.
Hello?
Osman, can you help me? Why are the children so angry?
Actually, the children are always hungry because it looks as if there's no fairness done to them.
Okay.
Always, whenever you hear a school having problem with their master, there's no way you see them ending by trying to interrogate both sides. They always make sure that the students are no right. I can remember 2 issues. One, the Nigerian issue. 2 years ago, there was an issue where the students were standing just in front of their dormitory. And then one of the teachers' daughter was passing by with a miniskirt. And the students hooted at the baby. The girl went to the father. The father came and piloted the students in presence of a doctor and killed them. And the students became so annoyed in such a way that they raised the man ran away. They burned the man's house and burned the animals using the man's, including his motorbike. Now, when they set a committee, the committee didn't try to know what caused it, but rather tried to see why the students did that. So they end up attacking the students. But the fact is that what caused it? As a master, don't forget that you killed some people's children because of your daughter.
Thank you.
And when you also look at the second issue, I remember when I was in school, my headmaster, whenever there's a problem, he will write to you and tell you that, oh, my children, I will listen to you. Please, come together, come together. Then you will say, no, we won't come. He said, come together. When you go there, you tell them, okay, just leave me in my office. I will listen to you. As soon as you open your mouth and explain whether you are right or you are not right, he will tell you, you are right, my sister, or you are right, my son. At the end, you will not sit down and call the leader and tell you, what do you want me to do? Then you will not tell him A, B, C, D. Okay, you go, I will know what to do. Then you now call the teacher involved in the presence of the leadership. So you all explain yourself the issue and get person to it. But these days, as soon as there's a problem, they go ahead and say the children are not right.
Osman,
and they just get a number of them and sack them. And that will never solve the problem.
Osman, thank you very much for that. Now, let me speak to Yaya. Hello, Yaya. Hello.
Good evening.
Good evening, Yaya. Let me hear your issue.
Hello. Good evening.
Good evening.
Hello.
Hello, Yaya. Good evening.
Yes. I also want to contribute good evening to your listeners and cherished viewers.
Good evening. Back to you again.
You know, the children that we are teaching, you know, we have we have to inculcate the
knowledge
in them.
You need to lower your TV and just talk to me on the telephone. Yeah. Okay, the line dropped. But if you're my next caller, there's a delay between your phone and your TV. So if you lower the TV, the conversation would flow if you talk to me via the phone. But Osman raised what was my concern. Okay, let me go to Walwali and speak to Mahama. Hello, Mahama.
Yes, good evening, Nana.
Good evening. You're not the president, are you? Mahama, let me hear your take on this issue.
Yes, what I want to say is that I just want to say that, well, in as much as sometimes we want to talk about going as far as blaming the authorities, I also want to say that, like the director talked about, there's something in this society, or that something that we're taking out. We all agree that when we're growing up as young guys or as youth, we had this culture that it was even wrong to point a finger to an elder person, someone that's older than you. But these days we are losing that kind of culture in the society. We are now in an era that we call 21st century, where we are losing the value of our pure tradition and kind of adapting to an educational system that is kind of, changing the culture of the youth. And so those days whereby you see your teacher to be that your father at home is now lost in the schools.
Wow.
Teachers and the relationship between students and teachers are no more like it used to be. And I think that it is hard time, like we're saying, that in as much as we want to talk about human rights and other things, it is also important that we see how best we can introduce these human rights laws in such a way that they don't spoil the African charm. Because an African is always an African, and for that matter, our culture will always remain our culture. That thing that grew you and I to where we are, or to where you are sitting, we should try to ensure that at least that same training that we gain as youth are kind of impacted to the younger one. So that, what do you call it?
Yeah, sorry. Yeah, thank you very much. And Abu is going to be my last call in Tamale. Hello, Abu.
Yes, hello.
Yeah, let me hear your take on this issue.
Yes, so thank you for having me.
You're welcome.
I'm listening to your program too. I think last caller made a point about this. Anytime there is an issue between students and masters, the authorities are very quick to say the challenge is coming from the students. Look at the Nairobi issue. When I was in school too, we had last day jams. Last day jams is always the last Saturday before you vacate. The last week of school is when students don't have money. Nobody is going to write their last paper on Thursday and sleep in the school again. And the authorities are aware of this. So if you stop them from having jams on Saturday, when the next paper is Monday, they still have Sunday to learn. The students have planned their lives. If you allow them to have the jams on Saturday, they can still write their papers on Monday. But if you stop the jams on Saturday, you are indirectly telling them that the students cannot have jams. Because after the last paper on Thursday, everybody is going home. When another issue happened, I spoke to a couple of students. The question you should be asking regional director is, why is it that the community came to help the students? The community not attack masters because a phone booth is spoiled. There is a long-standing problem between the students, the community, and the staff of the school itself. And that's what should be investigated.
Abu, thank you very much for that call. I wish we had started the phone calls earlier to get more of an insight, but I'll round up from here. Let me start with you, Edward, to just give me a last-minute comment from what the callers are saying.
Great. Impressive. When you listen to them, you realize they have concerns that they are expressing, as though, they are there and they understand the situation. And I am telling you, all these are coming from the northern part of Ghana, but take their situation and bring it to the southern, you're going to experience similar incidents. Like Anis have been saying, you compress students in a class, what you end up getting is frustration, aggression, reaction.
We are all compressed. I mean, whether you're in Accra, Kumasi, wherever you are compressed.
But then the system shouldn't be that you sit in the class throughout the day, throughout the week.
But we all sit. So I'm trying to find out that is it, are we narrowing down? Because all I'm hearing is teacher-student relationship breakdown. You know, you didn't coerce me, you didn't understand, you didn't listen to me, you didn't find out why, Anis. That's what I'm hearing from the
right.
college.
But the element of the crowded classrooms have a lot to do with us. You know, we have to breathe. I mean, and then you know we have
we are
people
all crowded nationwide.
Yeah, but maybe don't go there. Don't go there. This is the 21st century. For us being crowded in the past and not reacting then is different from the 21st century, when we can see that others are doing greater things than we ever can do, and that in itself is a problem. So overcrowded classrooms have to be addressed. That's one. The other thing is that in our culture, in African culture, adults tend to be too chauvinistic.
30 seconds.
It's either my way or the highway for you. But now we have to begin to look at those who are likely to cause problems, pull them in and give them responsibility. Let them own the school. Let them own the processes. Let them own some of the decisions. And that's when your superiority as a person who's raising young people begins to shine.
Wow, what an impressive... I think the teachers and they should bond. I think there's a communication breakdown somewhere, and somewhere they should find it. But it's just becoming too much. And particularly being that it's in the north, it's not good, because then you stigmatize the northern. Oh, it's only the northerners. And the painful bit is that we in the media will pick the most trivial of the issue and say, oh, they fought over Chalewote. Oh, they fought over a telephone wire. But we go behind it, and there's a much, much larger story which we don't report. So in order to get yourself a good image, we need to stop that. But I want to say thank you very much to Tanti's Fashion, who sews my shirt, and she's on 024-366-2001. 024-366-2001. Give Tanti's Fashion a call and have a nice African shirt made. It will calm you down, I'm sure. I want to say thank you very much to Anis Safa and to Edwin Boache Iadom. It's been great. We needed more time for this topic, but all too soon, the time is up. Tomorrow we'll be back to do this all over again. My name is Anan Sakwa IV. Thank you.